It looks like Wells Fargo, the bank, is turning its back on the adult entertainment industry.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back. I'm your host, Remnant Prince. So in this episode, it looks like OnlyFans is taking a hit and all the sex workers out there are not going to be able to cash out. And that's enough talking. Let's get to it. Please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe.
Scores of sex workers across the country say they have been locked out of their accounts with the bank. And we're talking about individuals like who have OnlyFans page or porn stars. Tonight, an adult entertainment veteran says she's confused by the decision.
Our guests are here on The Factor Uncensored. First, we want to begin with Elena Evans, who is an adult performer. Elena, obviously, Wells Fargo has made it known that they no longer want to handle accounts of adult entertainers. You fall in that category. First of all, tell our viewers out there what you do for a living or what you do that made Wells Fargo target you.
Well, I am an adult actress, mostly retired. Obviously, I'm on different platforms, but most importantly, I'm the president of the Adult Performance Artists Guild. We're a union representing all of the performers in the industry.
And so you were given notice that Wells Fargo was going to close your account. Tell us what that letter or that email or that notice was like.
Well, I received a written letter in the mail in a very blank envelope that told me that Wells Fargo was reassessing their relationships when it came to risk and that they had decided that they were no longer going to do business with me. There was nothing cited that I had done wrong other than they were just ending our relationship. I've been a customer with Wells Fargo for 30 years at this point, with no issues with my bank account. I even have a Wells Fargo credit card that's in good standing. So it was all a big shock to me.
And they did not give you any specifics, however. They did not say anywhere in that letter that you were an adult entertainer, and that's why we're not doing business with you.
Correct. It was just labeled that they were, well, I mean, I have it right here. Basically, that they wanted to reassess our relationship. And that was the only language that they used. The only risk that I ever bring apart is the fact that I get checks from companies like OnlyFans. And other than that, I have perfect standing with the bank. So it was a huge shock.
So how will this impact you personally and the industry out there? Those who may make money in the adult entertainment industry, they have to put their money somewhere.
Absolutely. The frustration is that at this point, there aren't really any mainstream banks left that are willing to work with us, it seems. I've had hundreds of performers report to me, whether it was Wells Fargo or Chase or Bank of America that they had problems with. We're essentially being forced to go to hopefully credit unions that will take us because we're too much of a risk. Being someone that's never bounced a check or gone into overdraft, the only actual reason that I can see why I would be assumed a risk is because of the online deposits that I'm getting.
And of course, Alfonso, you're an attorney. Let's talk about this. Is this more about morality and not actual financial risk or fiscal risk?
Well, Isaiah, good to see you. And one of the things that really stood out at me when your producer called me about this segment, I had to stop and think, and I was like, whoa, I mean, Wells Fargo has a moral compass all of a sudden?
We know their track record. We know what they've done.
Right. I mean, they've been alleged to have defrauded millions of consumers across platforms, mortgages, you name it. I think there always exists some language in these agreements that a consumer banking customer will sign off on, and leaves a lot of discretion to the bank on who they choose to do work with or not. But when you start looking at this in terms of an overarching category of individuals that they are targeting for exclusion from their bank, I don't think you can just take at face value what's contained in the construct of those agreements that are self-serving, written by them. And when you go open an account at Wells Fargo or Bank of America or anywhere, it's not as if you can negotiate the terms of those agreements. Mm-hmm. They were very, very, very happy to accept your money and probably utilize it over a period of time. But suddenly now you've got a group of folks, in this instance, adult entertainers, that are being targeted. Now, while there is no outright federal law that, as it pertains to in the employment context, there are protections for individuals, whether it's someone who's employed or someone that is doing business with an entity. And this reeks of gender discrimination. I'd be surprised to know how many male entertainers are actually getting kicked out of the banks. But that's something that we have to look at later.
So that would be, if you could think of anything, the legal recourse that they could take in a situation like this as performers.
Right. And now look, it would take some, dare I say, creative lawyering, because these agreements that they put out there, again, self-serving and fairly comprehensive. But when you start discriminating against a group of folks, that may be an option. Now, FINRA and the different entities that oversee the banking relationships, I think you may start, this may be an issue of first impression, where you have a certain subset of individuals. Where this came from is beyond me. Mm-hmm. But anytime you have folks impacted in such a manner, and you have one subset of individuals that have been targeted almost indiscriminately, well, where there's smoke, there's fire. And this certainly, if I'm a general counsel of a bank, I'd be getting my lawyers ready to see if there's something that could come their way.
I want to add, I don't mean to cut you off, a part of my circumstance is definitely different than what everyone else has experienced, including the other people from Wells Fargo that reached out to me. Whereas I actually received an additional letter dated September 7th from Wells Fargo once I had created my inquiry as to why I was being removed. And I was told in this email that I was actually going to get my accounts back, that they were removing the freeze. They had apologized for any inconvenience. And, through the process of me being very public about this problem, I had sent an email to the vice president of Wells Fargo, Mr. Derek Flowers. A few hours after I had received that response from Wells Fargo's risk assessment that the freeze was going to be lifted and I would be able to maintain my accounts, I got a call from Mr. Flowers' office actually telling me that they did their own risk assessment and that the rule of me losing my accounts was going to stand, and to ignore the other letter that I had received from that other risk department because Mr. Flowers' rule had stand. And what's coming up is that in itself may be retaliatory because I was so public about my problem with Wells Fargo. So that definitely makes it very interesting here.
Absolutely. This is something we will definitely watch and continue to explore here on The Factor. We want to thank you both for joining us here tonight.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like OnlyFans is going to have to find another way to peddle their dollars and cents. Other banks like Chase and Barclays and Bank of America also have fallen out of the deal. So, I think it's a good thing, because sex work is not good work for this world. It's not, with all the feminism and all of the INDEP, independent women out here, we can pretty much see where society is taking us, right? Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.